So these are real chronicles. These are real records that
real records, and of course I tell stories after reading through the records.
Yes.
I don't tell it in the same words that they've told it, but this was information of the people along the trail.
Yes.
In the case of my family name was Ausubel, Aleph Zayin Beis Aleph Lamed. We were a spice family from the Temple of Solomon. Azav being hyssop, Ale being Rabbeinu Shalom, God.
Where did you get the spices from in those days?
The spices, presumably he was a spice merchant. Otherwise, why would he be bringing Azav? This was in Israel.
Where did he go to get the spices? They were grown in...
Well, you have hyssop, for example, in the Galilee, when I visited the Galilee.
Yes, yes.
And then, actually, a lot of this material I got from my father's cousin, Nathan Ausubel, who was the author of a whole series of books, Treasure of Jewish Folklore, Treasure of Shuma, Pictorial History of the Jewish People, as well as at least a dozen other volumes. And Nathan never wrote about the family, but he gave me all the material with regard to same. So as I mentioned, it was part of my obligation to do this.
Yes.
And the reason it was my obligation is that I was the first generation in this country. To the Jewish child of today in the United States, all of this history between biblical times and modern time in the United States is just some little mist in the distance. And I had to create a reality of what this life was really like.
Yes.
And what their experiences were, because a tree without roots sunk deep into the soil is blown away by the first storm. But when you understand where you came from and have some pride in what was achieved, then you have a chance of surviving the storm.
Beautifully stated. Now, the year is 1943. You don't know it, but you're an actor also. Your name is Siegfried Ausubel. What's your story?
I'm Siegfried Ausubel. I've arrived in the United States. My grandfather left Galicia at the turn of the 19th to the 20th century. I was born in what was Poland, and I came not as far as the United States. I only got as far as Stuttgart. I was a merchant selling clothing. And I married Bertha Schmidt, who was a Jewish woman born in Switzerland. And we had and have one child whose name is Herbert. Now Kristallnacht comes about. And the Jews are being blamed for God knows whatever in Nazi Germany, and there's a determination to eliminate them. Because I have a Polish passport, I am shipped back to Poland, but I must get my wife and my child. So I get myself back into Germany, and now we've got to get out. We want to come to the United States where we have relatives, but there's a quota system, and so we can't get in. But we've got to get out. Every day it's worse and worse. Jewish heads are being smashed. Jewish children are being assaulted. Jews can't go to school. I finally get a passport, or actually a visa, to go to Thailand, which is actually a dummy visa, as a mechanism of getting out of Germany. I get into Switzerland. By the time I'm in Switzerland, forget about that visa to Thailand, I can't get to Thailand. So now we finally get into Italy, by hook or by crook. And we're now living off the baggage that we've brought with us. It is interesting that when the Germans stopped us at the border, looked at me suspiciously and put daggers through my baggage to check whether there's some hidden valuable in them. In any case, we finally got into Italy, and we're in Italy for several years, making the rounds of consulates, trying to get in to the United States or any place else that will accept us. Eretz Yisrael is, forget about it. The British have locked the doors. We can't get in. Finally, one day I am arrested and sent all the way down to a camp in Sicily. And then one day, I am told that I'm leaving. I'm taken on a train. And here I am going what I perceive to be north, because it's getting cooler and cooler as we go. And I think, oh my God, I'm going to end up back in Germany to go to whatever. To my amazement, I am let off at a platform in Milan, and my wife and my son are there. And we get on a train. Apparently some kind soul had somehow arranged for this. And we get on a train, and we're going to Spain. And the time is passing. We're now going through years. We still can't get into the United States, and Spain does not have any interest in us as permanent occupants. My son goes to a Catholic school because it's the only place he can get an education. And a number of the students chastise him because he seems to know all these lessons about Christianity better than they do, and they are very annoyed. And the teacher says, well, you should learn the lesson as much as that Jewish boy, and you'll be more content. In any case, finally, someone comes to our door and knocks on it and tells us that he's a representative of a Quaker group that is rescuing some Jewish children. And would we allow him to take our son to the United States? Much as we love our son, we loved him enough to have him go to the United States. And so he got to the United States. And now here we are, waiting, and finally our number comes up. And it's sadly interesting, as I learned later, how your number comes up. Everyone ahead of you has been killed. So they finally get to your number. And we've been sponsored by cousins in the United States, so we will be of no burden to the American government. And we finally go down with our last little package, which we've studied carefully. It has pictures, remembrances of the family. And we have this little package, and we put it on the ship, which is to leave in just a few hours. And then we go back to our apartment, which has now been stripped bare. We've sold everything everywhere along the trail. We barely have a change of clothes in that bag to put on the ship. And a woman comes knocking at our door. And she says to me, are you a father? I said, yes. She says to my wife, are you a mother? Yes. Then you'll know what I would want, and you will help me. Well, what can we do to help you? We're going to America in a couple of hours. That's precisely what I'm here for. I'm a married woman. I'm Jewish as you are. My husband is a physician, Jewish as you are. We have 3 children. We've gone through probably similar experiences to yours over the course of days and days and weeks and weeks and months and years. And we finally got on the quota. But we have 3 tickets for today and 2 tickets for the next ship, which leaves in just a couple of days. So if you would switch tickets with us, we've gone all this way as a family. We would like to come to America as a family. And my wife says, we must do that, even though our packages are, but please give Siegfried, give him the address that will be in America, so she'll bring our package to us. Fear not, she says, I'll guard it as if it were my own child. She held that little paper that my husband wrote up next to our heart to assure us that she would bring our little package to where we were. We arrived in the United States several days later. There was no one to greet us because no one knew we were coming that day. But the Hayas arranged for our transport to our cousin's home, and we were there. And we got started in America. And days went by, and the woman never arrived. And then I learned that the ship that she went on, that started out before us,
that you would have been on,
that I would have been on, was sunk, and all on board were lost at sea.
Oh.